Welcome to another episode of Your City. I'm your host, Dianne Parker, and we are in beautiful downtown Billings with Mayor Bill Cole at City Hall. Thanks so much for inviting us by.
Oh, well, good to be with you, Dianne. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, it's great to be here. So we are talking today about critical partnerships that the City of Billings has. I know that you have a lot, probably more than I'm even aware of, or a lot of the residents are aware of. We're going to talk about some of the main partnerships that you guys have today, but first off, what is the value of a partnership? What does that bring to our city?
Yeah, it brings everything to our city. Billings is blessed to have hundreds of nonprofit organizations, thousands of individuals who are willing to contribute their time and energy and money to our city. And so we're very, very fortunate. And you're right, we're only going to be able to talk about some of those. But I think the value of our major partnerships are three or four critical things. One is that the private sector, people outside of government, have so much expertise. And by partnering with them, we can take advantage of that expertise. That's one thing. Second thing is they have volunteers. People, manpower that's worth millions of dollars that we could never duplicate, and we would never have the money to duplicate, and we wouldn't want to put that burden on the taxpayers. They also have credibility. So the public knows that if people who are dealing with issues all the time, because that's their business or that's what their organization does, when they can team with the city to come up with solutions, that adds credibility for the public, that the public can be more confident that it's a good solution and that it's cost effective. And then critically, they can bring funding. Oftentimes, a lot of what government needs is financial resources, and partners often help to raise private donations, or they contribute to projects themselves. So there's a lot in it for you and I as citizens of Billings.
Right. One of the main partnerships that comes to mind for me would be Big Sky Economic Development, and I know that's a lot about connections and making things happen. So tell us, what is that partnership designed to really do?
Yeah, Big Sky Economic Development is one of those organizations that if people are not dealing with them, they often don't know exactly what they do. And Big Sky Economic Development really has two missions, I would say, even though I can't speak for them, but I would say one is to grow our local economy, and the other is to bring growth to our community. Those things obviously work together. So some of the things that they do to grow business and economic development is they provide advising for businesses, to veterans. They provide loan services for our community. And some of the things that they do for our community, they help us chart our course for workforce development, doing things to bring the most valuable resource we have, which are people, into our community. And that's what employers and new businesses are looking for more and more, is communities where they can find talent. And Big Sky Economic Development helps to do that. They're often focused on recruiting new businesses, and that gets a lot of attention from our community. But most of what they do is actually building the businesses that are already here so that they can expand and do better. That's what Big Sky Economic Development does, but the partnership element, I think, is what you asked about. And we have all sorts of things that we team with them on. Some of the major accomplishments, I think, that we've had together have been getting our BUILD grant. That's a federal transportation grant that we got now 2 years ago, $11.4 billion, I wish, nice. $1 million that will go toward construction of the Inner Belt Loop and the Skyline Trail on top of the rims. And Big Sky Economic Development, as well as other organizations like the Chamber and Billings TrailNet and the city, were instrumental in getting that grant. So that was a critical benefit of that partnership. Also, Big Sky Economic Development was essential in bringing the Montana College of Osteopathic Medicine to Billings, the new medical school on Shiloh, which is going to be a game changer in our local economy. They've also been central in bringing the new Coca-Cola plant to Billings. The city worked with them in extending utilities. So again, it's a team approach that makes all of the difference. And then they've also been working to expand the TED district, the Targeted Economic Development District in Lockwood, so that we have enough industrial sites. When businesses are looking to relocate to a community like Billings, they're in a hurry. And what they want is land that's ready to go for their particular use. And so one thing that Big Sky Economic Development has done in cooperation with the city is try to consolidate properties and make sure that they're served by utilities, and so that they're ready to go when we get a nibble from a business that wants to locate or expand here in Billings.
Okay, that's great. A lot going on there. Anything else that you'd like to add about that partnership with Big Sky Economic Development? Anything for the future, maybe?
You know, that's a lot on the business development component, but one thing that Big Sky Economic Development has been focused on, which I support 100%, is the development of Colson Park. Before there was a Billings, there was a Colson. The first community in our valley, founded in 1877, was Colson, named after the Colson Packet Company, which is a steamship company, and it was now located on the river just across from Lockwood. And we still have a park there, but it's undeveloped, and it's has so much potential to unlock the resources of the Yellowstone River. And so I'm hoping that Big Sky Economic Development, in coordination with the city and others, can find the funding to develop Colson Park.
Okay, wonderful. So what about the partnerships that the City of Billings has with the Chamber and maybe Visit Billings, some of them that focus a little bit more on, bringing people here to visit?
Yeah, no, the Chamber is, has been here for more than 100 years, and they are a 5-star rated chamber. Fewer than, I think, 1% of all the chambers in the United States get that rating from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I like to say that the Billings Chamber gets things done, and they have for years and years. And so we're privileged to be able to team with the Chamber and with Visit Billings. Visit Billings, as you indicated, is their primary purpose is to bring tourism to Billings. And that's not just the summer tourists who bring the family to Yellowstone Park. It's business tourism, convention business. Conventions are critical to exposing your community to the whole country for a few days. Businesses don't just magically land in a place like Billings because they threw the dart and that's where the dart landed. They know something about the community, and often that's because somebody attended a convention here. Unfortunately, our convention business has declined more than 20% over the last 5 years. And that was predicted because we don't have the convention facilities. They tend to be smaller and they tend to be older. And they've just gotten older over time. And so that was part of the reason there was so much focus on the One Big Sky district that would have potentially included a larger convention facility. Now we're losing a lot of that business to Big Sky and other larger communities. So Visit Billings helps to do that. It's not funded with tax dollars. They get some other funding from a tourism business improvement district, which is a $2 charge put on hotels in Billings that is then kicked back to do that promotion by Visit Billings. And so that's been critical. Another trend has been the importance of sports tourism. Millions of dollars flow into this community when there is a large soccer tournament or the state all-class wrestling tournament at Metra, or a swimming meet if we had a swimming facility large enough to do that, or any of the high school sports, the college sports. So they've been focused on that because they recognize the value. That's part of the reason that the Chamber has been helping us with efforts to get a Southside Recreation Center at Amon Park that would bring in tens of millions of dollars of business into Billings every year.
Right. So those accomplishments, I mean, they're really great as far as, and the partnerships, just bringing people to our community, bringing funds in, moving that money around.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a lot of the business development component, but they've also been important in just building the quality of life in Billings and helping to recruit people. It was the chamber that was behind the development of the Yellowstone Kelly interpretive site on top of the rim. So there's places for people to hike and go see. They were involved with the build grant that I mentioned before. They've been critical to helping us pass the public safety mill levy to keep our community safer and find dollars for expanding our police and our prosecutors and our fire departments. And before that, with passing school levies, the Chamber has worked hard to improve public safety through the CEPTED program, crime prevention through environmental design, working with businesses to figure out how they can help reduce crime. And they've been encouraging people to run for public office because public office is not as appealing as it once was. And so it scares away a lot of people. So they've been out there trying to educate people, helping people to know what they'd have to do if they wanted to also run for public office.
Okay, so a lot of great projects that you guys have been able to collaborate on. Anything
Absolutely.
for the future that you have on the wish list with the Chamber?
I hope they will stay involved with public safety. That's our #1 priority. There's no doubt about that. But we also are facing the end of our Park District 1 in 2024 because of a change that the legislature made. So we're going to have to go to the voters and ask them whether they want to reduce funding for parks or keep it the same or expand it. And I'm hoping that the Chamber will stay involved and help to educate the public about the problems that we have in park funding, and also continue to encourage people to run for public office and do what they've done for many years, which is serve their own members and to encourage businesses to locate to Billings.
Right. Okay. Talk to us about downtown Billings and kind of what that partnership is designed to do.
Downtown is Billings. There's never a great city without a great downtown. It's our signature. It's our core. And Billings is really blessed. Sometimes it's tempting to compare ourselves to downtown Bozeman, which is sort of a completely different animal, right?
Yeah.
But we have a very healthy downtown. We've had 30 new businesses set up shop in Billings, just in downtown, just in the last couple of years. We also have some advantages that communities like Bozeman and Missoula do not have. Namely, our downtown is right in the middle of town. It's not at the edge of town, it's right in the middle of town. So everybody benefits from a thriving downtown. It also is large. It has room for growth. Sometimes I worry that it's too large, right? But we've seen some tremendous development occur, in particular housing. In order to have a thriving downtown, you need to have people living downtown. The City Council just recently approved a new, from the ground up, 36-unit new housing apartment building. That would be the first of probably 2 phases. That could be a real game changer. Our partnership with the Downtown Billings Alliance has been essential to making all of those things happen. There's really 3 parts of the Downtown Billings Alliance. It gets rather confusing. There's a group that just helps the businesses themselves, yep. But the city tends to coordinate with the partnership, which runs the TIF District and the Downtown Billings Improvement District. So we can talk about that, yeah. and the difference that they have made in downtown Billings.
Right. Let's just talk about that. There have been a lot of projects over the years, a lot of revitalization in the TIF districts. I've seen the industrial area, seeing a lot of improvements out towards Metro Park. What is that partnership like?
Yeah, absolutely. And the TIF districts are, we'll start with downtown.
Yeah.
So the reconstruction of the Alberta Bear Theater was funded in part by our downtown TIF the the TIF district downtown is been responsible for the redevelopment of many downtown businesses. The Burger Dive is going to be moving to Minnesota Avenue, which could be a complete game changer for the South Side and for downtown. All because of the support that we've got from the Downtown Billings Alliance and the downtown TIF district. The redevelopment of Montana Avenue is largely attributable to the vision of some great individuals like Mike Scheer, but also TIF dollars that have gone into the redevelopment of downtown. The Downtown Billings Alliance not just has, because the downtown TIF makes recommendations to the city about how to use those dollars. Ultimately, it's up to the city council to make the approval, but they do a lot more as well. So they've been working on public safety. They've been working with our police department on the downtown officers. The business improvement district downtown pays for several officers to have downtown patrols. They're regular police officers, and we can use them at other times, but they help cover some of those costs. So the downtown merchants are really putting their money where the mouth is, because the business improvement district is like a small tax on themselves, and those dollars stay downtown. So that's what pays for the beautiful planters, for example, and helps to focus on some of these social issues like our transient problem and our substance abuse problems. The downtown community and the Downtown Billings Alliance and Katie Easton, their executive director, have been absolutely central in helping to address those downtown issues.
Yeah, I do have to say, working downtown, it's great when your business becomes a member of the DBA, because they stop by, they give all the employees the actual business cards of those police officers on the bikes. You feel safe, like you feel like you could just give them a call, they're right there if you needed anything.
That's the advantage of being a smaller town where people know each other. Doesn't mean we don't have serious problems, there's no doubt about that. But at least we have a way we know who to contact to look for solutions.
Okay, so I know you have a partnership with us here at Community 7 Television, which we're very grateful for. It's a wonderful partnership. Let's talk a little bit about that, because this is really one way that a lot of the folks out there listening can get their news and information directly from the source about what's going on with the city.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. Montana has some of the most strict open meeting laws in the United States. It's part of our Constitution, our state statutes, and our local ordinances. And Community 7 is an essential way that the City Council, the City of Billings, the county commissioners make their meetings open to the public, as we are required to do. Many people will come to our meetings, and they're always welcome to do so, but most people watch on Community 7 television. And so Community 7 has done a great job of being that bridge between the public and its government. And it hasn't always been easy. So when COVID hit and we had to relocate, well, at first we had to go to complete Zoom virtual meetings. But Community 7 was there to suffer along with the rest of us as we figured out how that was going to work, how we were going to take public comment, but they did a great job and it worked out well. Then we moved to the library and the Royal Johnson Community Room in the library, and it was not set up for the technology that we needed, but Community 7 worked with the city in order to get the technology, get the microphones, the cameras placed, so that we could start broadcasting from the library. Right. So that's been a critical partnership, and it's one that is not paid for with city dollars for the most part. Most people don't realize that on their cable TV bill, there's a small charge that is allowed by the federal government to be collected, that is then collected by the city, that is then used to go to Community 7, several $100,000 a year, that helps to fund this community access television that is critical to building that trust with our population.
Right, it's really important. It really is a critical partnership, and some people couldn't, they can't actually physically get down to City Hall or wherever you're having your meetings at. So I think just having that availability online and the online streaming now during the meetings and the Facebook Lives, it's been really nice. So we should probably give Tim Harrington some credit. He's the general manager at Community 7. I know Lindsay and Roberta, they have a very small team, but they all work together and they get a lot done. And I know that everyone really values that partnership. So thanks to the city for working with Community 7.
And they're
too.
very professional.
Yeah.
They've got top quality people and equipment. They've moved into closed captioning for our hearing impaired population. I'm hoping in the future they'll be able to get that word out and people will have more and more access because it's so convenient. At 3 a.m., if you're suffering from insomnia, click on the Community 7 TV website and watch a little city council action, and I guarantee you will be asleep in seconds.
Yeah, who needs sleeping pills?
Absolutely.
Watch the city council
just watch
meeting.
The city council.
There's also some fun things too. I mean, I know Community 7, they broadcast annually the holiday parade. It's a great tradition, and a lot of folks can't make it downtown to that, so it's nice to have some of those options too.
Absolutely. And that's another thing that our Downtown Billings Alliance does is all those great events that happen downtown, it's because of our downtown merchants.
Yeah, it is. All right, well, anything else that you'd like to add on these partnerships?
Well, some of the other TIF districts, if you've got a minute or two, we already addressed the downtown tax increment finance district, but we also have the one on the east side of town and the one on South Billings Boulevard. So TIF districts, tax increment finance districts, are kind of a unique animal. They're a way where money that is raised from local taxes, school taxes, county taxes, stay in that district. It doesn't result in an increase in taxes for people in that district. To the opposite, the money stays in their area once it's been identified as being blighted and an area that needs economic revitalization. And on the east side of town, the eBird, the East Billings Urban Renewal District, has just done tremendous things in building infrastructure. When I first moved to town, we had a lake down on the east side of town by Metro because we didn't have the stormwater systems and the curbs and gutters and the sidewalks. They've put in street lights down there. And so we're starting to see this revitalization of the area between downtown and the Metro because of the East Billings Urban Renewal District and the independent board that oversees that, makes recommendations to the City Council. One thing I'm very excited about there in the future is the development of the Fifth Avenue Trail Corridor. Most people don't realize that there is no Fifth Avenue. And the reason is because there's a train track down Fifth Avenue from downtown to Metro. But that's a great opportunity to turn that into a trail that would connect our downtown with what happens in Metro. And that's going to be an exciting future development. On the south side, similarly, the South Billings Urban Renewal District, another TIF district that has allowed the city to pave a lot of gravel streets that otherwise would have remained gravel on the south side, to improve Amon Park, put in lights, bring in that sports tourism that's so important for our economy, and do many great things around South Billings Boulevard area and on the I-90 corridor. Going forward, what I'm really excited about there is the possibility of developing this Southside Recreation Center, because right now we can't host major sports events for swimming, for example. We need indoor swimming. We have none of that. The city doesn't have any sort of ice facilities, which also brings in lots of tourism dollars, and we don't have indoor basketball courts. And so we can use those TIF dollars to help fund an indoor recreation center on the south side, and that's going to be an exciting future development at some point, I hope in the near future.
Right, a lot to look forward to. And I know that those districts, they really do help. I moved here in 2004 from Wyoming, and I know you moved here from Bozeman. When did you move to Billings?
Yeah, I spent some time on the East Coast, but we landed here in 1991, so 30 years ago.
Okay, so yeah, we've all seen these changes and how these districts work, and it's really impressive when you look at the east side and just the south side and some of the areas of town and see that revitalization.
Absolutely. It's a completely different community, and the trend is upward and onward.
All right, well, Mayor Cole, we want to thank you so much for letting us swing by City Hall. It's been great information. We'll have to stop by again, but for now, this has been another episode of Your City, and we'll see you next time.